DSG, I mean, they're hungry for it. You know, you think back to Split 1, eXyu was talking all kinds of trash about Dignitas, his former team.
Same colors, but they look better on the DSG jersey.
Exactly, thinking he was going to be, you know, absolutely smacking them around. But Dig has won each time they have actually ran into each other throughout the year.
Exactly. So that means that maybe a more chip on the shoulder for players like eXyu here to try and pick up that win. Finally back the talk he gave at the beginning of the year. Some things like that Gwen Blue 1 are available, but instead it's going to be the Azir Blue 1 for Dignitas here in Game 1.
Yeah, so Azir is up and available. The question to me is, you know, will you leave up the Gwen? Because clearly Photon loves to play it. Castle is a really flexible player. He likes to play a lot of different stuff, so I wouldn't be shocked to see, you know, if he was willing to give that over. Instead, it is going to be the Rumble being grabbed up here.
First repeat champion for Castle. It was Sion, Jax, Rumble, K'Sante, Yorick so far, so this is the first time doubling back.
And we get a ton of first pick buy, so I do think DSG is going to be really happy about the 1-2 that they got on red side, being able to grab both the Rumble as well as the Vi. It does mean that Photon has the ability to counterpick top lane in the first 3 if he wants to. So it is taking a little bit of that red side power away, but Rumble obviously really strong, blind pickable champion. We do see a lot of Galio as an answer in pro play. You know, people are quite a fan of that matchup. I do think there's a number of different matchups into Rumble which can work quite well. I think Yorick's actually quite good into it also, but not the most popular answer in pro for sure. And so we'll see if Dig does want to match roles here and pick their top laner, or if they are going to look for something a little bit different.
I'm going to imagine a carry top laner for Photon just based on what they've shown so far. It's been 2 Gwens, Aurora, and Kled, but this would buck that trend. It's Sion locked in for Photon.
So this is actually just the matchup that we just watched in that last series between Thanatos and Impact. It did not go well for Impact. You definitely expect the Rumble to have push here early on, to be able to put that pressure on. And if the Rumble gets ahead, sometimes you can kind of just be ahead of the pace of the game where the Sion doesn't really get that tanky in the 1v1. But if you can stay even, or if you can put that Rumble behind, you know, through some good ganks, then the Sion can kind of become that brick wall. Seeing Ziggs come through here early is a little bit surprising to me. A lot of these long-range poke mages are considered quite good answers into the Azir. A lot of people do think about things like, you know, even like Vel'Koz, and we've seen Xerath, and we've seen things like that. So I wouldn't be shocked to see it go mid. Of course, it could be going bot for Rahel. They're keeping the possibility of a flex here open. But I am expecting it to go mid there for Darkwings. And we'll get to see how he can perform on a bit of a different pick.
And a part of the surprise is we're used to seeing Ziggs in LTA North, but specifically for Team Liquid. They're the team that plays it a lot. APA loves that one. We have the graphic with APA's face on Ziggs' head. Maybe Darkwings is trying to say, hey, let's make a custom graphic. He's going to have to be like licking the Ziggs' elbow, though, because that's Darkwings' thing so far.
I don't think he's going to lick his elbow. No, I don't think he has to.
He's got pretty short arms. So I feel like it's not a lot of distance.
Probably could. He's got a big mouth as well. You know, if it is Darkwings, it would actually be his first Ziggs of his career. So as far as professional play, so not a single game played on it. I'm going to check if Rahel has actually played it much to see, you know, if that makes it a bit more likely. Because I do always think that's interesting when people are kind of busting something out if it hasn't been super popular. Rahel has played it, but he only has 1 game. So neither of these players, 100% win rate.
Boom.
Neither of these players have played a lot of Ziggs.
But to me, that means that they've been cooking. They've been cooking behind the scenes. Obviously, you're not just going to pull this out first time on stage in Game 1 of a very impactful match when it comes to seeding and trying to get a chance.
Unless you're protesting your team.
Oh, you know, I hadn't thought about it from that perspective.
I'm first timing this because you guys deserve to lose.
Yeah, new guy on the team. He's like, let's trust. I'm going to style on him. Alistar is going to be paired with whatever the bot laner is, and it's going to be Jhin plus Poppy as a response from Dignitas.
Yeah, Poppy support, definitely a lot of fun here. I do think it's a great answer both into the Alistar, but also the Vi. You know, it should be a pretty strong pick. And if they are going for Kaisa, you can also interrupt the Kaisa ult. So that is something to watch out for here. But it is going to be basically full dive for DSG, and it is Ziggs going mid as expected. This is Vi getting sent in on the Azir, likely, or the Jhin. And then you have Equalizer, you have the Mega Inferno Bomb, you have Kaisa coming in over the top. So you have so many tools to dive that one target and try to knock them down immediately. Dig, on the other side, really is kind of more of a 2-threat comp here, so they have got to protect Keine and Tomo if they want to be able to take these fights.
The one thing I will say is that Crescent Guard, the Poppy Steadfast Presence, there are some tools to try and knock people away or prevent them from getting on you. Vi Ultimate aside, that's the one that will guaranteed go through, but the Alistar could have some more difficulty because of that Poppy support. I too really like this more defensive style from Isles, who's shown great flexibility as support this year. He played a lot of the enchanters, but now he's also willing to pull stuff out like this. And I think that it shows the growth of Isles as a player and what he brings to Dignitas, who are looking to continue their streak of victories versus Disguised. Disguised, meanwhile, the new guest team in the LTA North will have to play in the promotion tournament in a few months, but for right now, they're hoping to pick up their first series win of the year in Split 3 versus Dignitas. Kind of turning into a bit of a grudge match between these two teams. Again, Dignitas are the winning one, but eXyu's got a lot to prove here after the words that he gave at the beginning of the year, saying he doesn't think Dignitas should be that much work for them. Time to back your bowl.
Absolutely, and I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, this is probably your best chance to get a series win, right?
Yes.
You know, your next matchup is going to be harder. So they have got to see if they can get their first win here today. Isles has only played one career Poppy game all time. Was a loss, but this is number 2.
Okay.
The chance to right the ship.
Hey, number 2, well, okay, it's not Rahel playing the Ziggs. It is actually first time for Darkwings. So we got a couple of newer champs here. And speaking of opportunities, Disguise have the opportunity to not join the likes of Phoenix 1, who are currently the holder of the longest series of losses in a row before they pick up a win.
Yeah, so this is only counting series play. We're not looking at best of ones. But look at how many in a row. It will, if they lose this and then get knocked out next week, that would be a tie. So thankfully for them, they can't hold the record because there's no more games to play. But they will have lost every series that they have played in the history of their org.
Yes, and I know it can,
which isn't a great stat.
that would feel rough, and the reason that we want to highlight that specifically is because it's got to be a big motivator for these players. They know the situation they're in. They know how tough it is.
You don't want to be on those rosters.
You don't want to be on those types of stats either. So definitely motivated for Disguised to try and pick up this win here.
I mean, it's just so tough if you are then associated with like the worst roster of all time. Like, that is not the association that you want, man. That is not the stink that you want to be on your name.
Hard to get off the clothes.
It is really hard. That does not wash out.
Yeah.
That is tough. I mean, all jokes aside, you are, playing for a spot in the league, right? And players that are on these kind of rosters, you kind of have to be able to make a really strong argument that, hey, like, ooh, it wasn't me. Like, it wasn't me. It was someone else. You have to be able to showcase your own play, which sometimes makes things really tough because then you have players that at times maybe are playing more for themselves or more for stats, trying to actually make sure that they are looking good.
Yeah, exactly. But at the end of the day, we know League of Legends is a team game. The way you win actual games is by playing as a cohesive unit. So that's what we're looking at for Disguise right now, which did pick up a game win against Shopify Rebellion, and part of the reason why we feel that they could be favored here. Let's catch up on what's happening in-game, though, as junglers are pathing to opposite sides. Right now, DSG's bot lane is shoved in, but they have eXyu on that side of the map currently, so don't expect them to be any sort of danger right now. Meanwhile, Sheiden already hitting those top camps as we see top lane's been shoved in as well.
Yep, both junglers doing something never seen before. Killing 6 camps, then a scuttle, and then they're going to go back to base.
They're not even going to contest for that scuttle, I'm pretty sure. I think they're just going to take opposite ones.
Of course.
But who gets the scuttle first? It's a little mini game.
Big question, big question. We'll see. But so far, things looking pretty good. Also is going to be First Strike being played by Darkwings, which I do think is quite nice. Easy to proc that with the satchel, as we're seeing there. And Dig are going to start the lane swap here, sending Tomo and Isles up towards that top side. And Photon, of course, on the Sion. He's going to be pretty happy in the 1v2. That is the Sion Classic. Yep. One of the reasons that it is such a strong tank in competitive. I mean, it has good lane matchups, but it's also so hard to punish. In the 1v2, it's so hard to punish in a dive because even if you kill him off, he's likely to get the whole wave in that passive zombie form. So is definitely playing towards those strengths and avoiding some of these matchups, keeping him away from Castle with that Conqueror, just allowing him to kind of free farm down on the spot side is going to mean it's hard for Castle to really create a big advantage.
And we had made the point for DSG to play with a cohesive strategy, play as a team. Photon playing Sion, you're kind of required to play as a team when it's something like this. It's not Photon on the Gwen or the
seen the boss play.
Okay, well, fair enough, actually. That is the notable counter example. But typically, when it comes to pro play, you see the Sion as a team player, which is not how Dignitas had been drafting for Photon before. They were giving him tools to exceed alone in lane. Now, Dignitas will be using the Sion more as this kind of frontliner / engage tool for them.
And I think we might just see them swap again. Yeah, exactly. So as soon as Castle is TPing bot, they had the push on the side of Dig in both side lanes, so this gives them the opportunity to just continue dodging the lane. So they just immediately swap away, and they're going to send Sion back towards top to answer Rahel. They saw Castle TP down towards bot, so he, of course, can't then match the swap from Photon. So this is pretty nicely done, I think, from Dig. They clearly don't want to be playing in the kind of like assigned matchup, so to speak, and they've been able to avoid that pretty well thus far.
Yeah, I mean, if this is the game plan, they are executing it very, very well so far in this early stage. It does lead to a League of Legends style of gameplay that we won't see a lot of action early on. Dragon is now up, so maybe there's a contest there. We do see Sheiden hovering around the area, and he's going to start it.
But I mean, honestly, if you're playing Sion Azir, do you want action? I don't think you do. I think you just want to chill and farm. You want to be fighting minions. Sheiden could be in some trouble here as Darkwings and eXyu are coming, but he has his bot lane with the push, so they can make that first move. And Castle's not 6 yet, so it would be pretty tough to contest.
Rahel and Huhi are running all the way down, though. They're currently in the mid lane. I think DSG are going to contest. There's a teleport coming in from the mid laner. It's going to be Keine running straight into multiple members while Dignitas engage on a castle. There's the teleport completed. Kaine's got a flash to get out of there because the team committed to the play onto the Rumble. Now a flash from Isles. Dragon's picked up there by eXyu, but it will be for trade of the top laner. Castle goes down.
Yeah, really nicely done there by Isles. He flashes in on Castle. They'd already traded flashes earlier, and then he's able to actually interrupt the flash combo with his steadfast presence. Huhi tried to flash in to be able to get that kill onto Sheiden. And so watch, this is the initial play. Castle's able to flash out, dodges that deadly flourish. Then as Keine comes in, everyone is focused on him from DSG, but Isles flashes forward, gets behind him, knocks him back into the team, and then look at the steadfast presence there. Puts it up, stops the engage from Huhi, which keeps his jungler alive. Nicely done, but DSG does still get the dragon at the end of the day. So they are down a couple hundred gold, but they do walk away with the objective because Sheiden, of course, had to leave being that low on health.
Exactly. The only other thing that happened elsewhere on the map is Photon was able to get a wave in, so he's a slightly ahead of Castle right there. And a plate, yeah.
Made you a liar, didn't play with his team.
Hey, there we go.
Just to spite you, he's only going to walk down side lanes and just into kill towers.
He didn't die to the turret while doing it, though, so it's not the full bounce.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he would have died for that second
And
play.
he has no lethality, so we know he's a coward.
Good point. Good point, yeah. Way too early on the health stacking right there. But it does mean that the Sion gets a little bit of resources. The kill was picked up by Tomo as well, so gold onto the Jhin always feels good too.
Yep, absolutely. Darkwings continuing to just farm away here in the mid lane. Not really creating any sort of an advantage in that mid lane, honestly, but is getting a little bit of gold from First Strike. Has got a bit over 100 thus far, and of course it scales relatively well into the later stages of the game. You know, you are getting that flat damage amp with it, so you know, if your first spells are actually hitting, just with the ulti, that can be pretty valuable. So we'll see how effective it is throughout the rest of the game, but I think it's a pretty decent choice. If you feel like, hey, I'm just in a farm lane anyway, I'm probably not going to be able to actually kill Keine, and then just go First Strike, try to get a little bit extra gold.
It's similar almost like picking up a Cole, where you're saying, yeah, we're just not going to have a lot of action early on. I'm just going to try and get to my item power spikes a little faster. And then once you get those items, you even stack that damage a little bit more, get a little bit more gold as the game goes on. So fun to see. Dignitas right now are hovering multiple members up in the top river, as the grubs will be spawning shortly.
Yeah, are looking like they want to try to contest for that. Right now, Sion is down on that bottom side, and he's being matched by Rahel, but Sion has TP, and Kaisa does not. So this should be a good setup here for Dig. Photon can continue to push, and as long as he has that push in, Rahel's not even really going to be able to punish it if he TPs away, right? Because that is the only threat, is kind of a trade for those plates. And now he is going to TP up there.
So we see eXyu is on the grubs right now. He's going to be able to get one, and then Vault Breaker over the wall. So that's just one taken?
Yeah, I mean, that's already such a big win for DSG. The fact that they get the TP out, and you didn't actually get a clean sweep of the grubs. DSG was not in the position that they could fight at all. Dig kind of showed up a little bit too late there, and as a result, eXyu just sneaks one away, gets over the back of the wall, and now, by the time Tomo gets down towards bot lane, you're going to have lost that full wave bot that Rahel pushed in. So even though you get the extra grub for Dig, I would say this is a positive play for DSG, given the state of the map. I think they actually did quite well to answer this.
And it looks like that's teleport coming in from Isles down into this bottom side here as the Poppy with the Summoner Spellbook. So when we went into game one here, Zale, for Dignitas versus DSG, if you had said, yeah, the first 9 minutes is going to be this kind of intricate back and forth of lane swaps and different teleport fades towards the objectives, that's not the expectation I had. If you had said we were just going to be duking it out, having some fun, absolutely. But this has really turned into a more cerebral version of League of Legends of how do we just maximize our gold income by kind of out-rotating our opponents.
Yeah, absolutely. It has been a lot of focus on the map play, and the question is, can the teams actually get an advantage with that? Can they play the map better to create these big advantages, and can they turn that gold lead into something that is actually then paying off in the team fights? Because both these teams, I think, at times have struggled quite heavily in the 5v5 to actually be coordinated, to be on the same page. I think it is definitely something we see with a lot of our bottom teams, is that each player has a clear idea of what they want to do in the team fight. The problem is it's often very different from the other players on their team. So you'll see eXyu, full sending it in on the Vi, while the rest of his team is trying to peel back, or the rest of his team doesn't want to engage, and things like this. So we have to see if they can get on the same page. But so far, very, very close game. It is pretty much dead even in gold. It is just the one dragon for the two grubs, basically, that has been the trade.
Speaking of, that's coming up in 25 seconds here. So more vision so far by DSG. They have wards behind the dragon pit. They're getting their control wards down around here to try and stop Dignitas' approach.
And now, this time, it should be DSG that has the advantage, because they have TP on Castle, where Photon is up on the top side, does not. So if he wants to be down here for this dragon, he's going to have to start walking down. And he has no Sion ulti either, so there's not a quick way for him to get here. I think what he's hoping to do is just kind of lane lock Castle and just hard shove in that wave and say, Castle, you can't leave or you will lose plates. And we'll see if DSG are comfortable with Castle just trying to accept that loss and fight for it, and they're going to...
Flash engage coming in here from Huhi. So FS presence and flash response from Isles as Darkwings teleported down. So DSG just forced Dignitas' bot lane away from the dragon. Sheiden is hovering nearby. Maybe a steal attempt. We'll see how Dignitas want to approach this. Currently, they're just walking away.
Yeah, and you can see a lot of assist pings from Photon. He wants them to come dive top. So Keine is actually going to go up there. They're not going to try to contest. Instead, they're going to try to make a play on the other side, and it's pretty well set up.
Castle has flash and has ultimate. Photon's going to have to try and tank things up to start. Keine will be the damage. Photon can take a lot of shots. That's 3, but he will walk away because of Huhi's teleport. So DSG will get the dragon and defend top lane.
Yeah, good map movement, but now Sheiden's coming, and the redive potential is still there. Huhi does have ulti, but he's not going to have any damage to actually turn back. Castle's now TPing back, and that will force them to call off the play. So Huhi TPs to save Castle, then Castle TPs to save Huhi. That's teamwork,
playing a little
baby.
leapfrog. Yeah, let's go. Huhi throws up the laughing Braum as well. I love to see that type of coordination from DSG. They get their second dragon, and Castle's right back to farming. He's going to push another wave in. It's like nothing happened.
I mean, DSG's actually playing the map well. I got to give them credit. I do think their setups have been pretty good here, and able to defend the counterplay up on that top side. Now it is Keine with that completed first item, TPing back out towards that side lane. Clearly, they do not want Sion laning against Castle at all costs. Feel like they're trying to avoid that, but the Hollow Radiance is done now, so it's not like Sion should be having that much of a problem in that side lane. It's double AP soul laners, so he should be tanking against whoever. And once you have Hollow Radiance, if you're not mega behind, you kind of just one-shot the waves and kind of ignore the matchup. So I don't really feel like they should be that concerned.
Yeah, you can always threaten the ult from the side lane. He takes out so fast. And this is kind of the downside of the double AP solo laners that we've seen coming up in the meta, is that you can just pick a tank, build MR, you feel really good about that.
Yeah, exactly. And you can say, well, yeah, but Rahel can build AD. Like, he can go full AD, but it's hard to just have enough auto attacks to actually kill a Sion as Kaisa, because Kaisa is relatively low range. So I'm generally more a fan of kind of AP hybrid style builds that we do see coming out of Kaisa. But the issue here is that you're going to have to be full AD because you already have double AP soul laners, and you're heavily outranged by both the Jhin and the Azir. So team fighting becomes really, really difficult, right? If you're trying to stand there and actually auto attack enough times to kill a Sion or kill a Xin or kill this Poppy, well, 1 or 2 autos from the Azir, it's like WQ, auto, and you're kind of out of the fight. So we'll see how they're going to be able to navigate this. Of course, they're going to try to circumvent that by just having it be 100-0 plays on these full dives.
Exactly.
But I do think Rahel's job is pretty difficult in this game, given that he is pretty heavily outranged, and there's a decent amount of pressure that can be put on him by the other comp.
Whenever I see a composition like this, if the Kaisa is in a team fight only autoing the Sion, that either means that nobody's near the Sion, you can do it, or you just got the wrong target. You can just follow the Vi ult. You're going to be looking at Keine, looking at Tomo, these squishier carries. Kill them first. Deal with the Sion later. That's the extracurricular right there. Although Castle's dealing with him right now, actually. Stacks up the Conqueror very fast. He takes Photon to half health. Still able to take the 1v1 trades very well. I think that's maybe why Photon would rather lane against Darkwings.
Yeah, I mean, Photon doesn't actually want to fight him. You know, that was a situation where he walks up, he kind of face checks him, and as a result, you know, you're tanking that full damage coming through from Castle, and that is an overheated Rumble. He's going to crush you with the Conqueror stacked. But, you know, it's less about, oh, I completed one item, I beat the Rumble now, and more about, I one-shot all the waves and the Rumble can't fight me, right? You know, so it's more of that he is looking for. And then if you could slowly whittle down the Rumble, hey, maybe there's going to be opportunities. But largely Photon's job is to just not allow Castle to interact. Don't allow him to take towers. Just continue getting tankier and tankier.
And then show up when the team fight calls for it. Speaking of 10 seconds for the Herald spawn, expecting something to happen there. DSG were able to take away that one grub and then get out, but let's see if they're able to get the Herald and get out this time around, or if the teams will commit for the fight. Castle's already walked up.
Photon's still staying bot, so he actually canceled his base here. He does have TP to join, but is not coming to actually help the team set up and is sitting on quite a bit of gold. So he's instead just going for the tower. He is just kind of playing more towards that side lane on the Sion.
Oh, no, now he is actually going for the teleport. So Dignitas will look to contest. Kaine's all alone on the top half right here, and now all members of DSG notify. Now Dignitas Sheiden goes in, gets onto Rahel. The AD carriage is taken out. Curtain's been called. And Dig find a pick onto the Kaisa to kick things off. Now Huhi stunned into the wall, has flash available, gets over there. But the Herald's taken, a kill to Dignitas, and the wheels fall off for DSG.
Really nice engage there from Sheiden in onto Rahel. He just instantly got in on Rahel, and no one was actually blocking the curtain call for Rahel. He kind of got left out by himself. You know, Castle is on the side here. You can see Darkwings is not with the team whatsoever, and they realize they're very, very split, so they just immediately go in. There is the root from Jhin coming through. Huhi can't get there to block whatsoever. This was a very disjointed fight from DSG. And even with Photon showing up, you know, he hadn't bought, but it just didn't matter, right? He shows up to the fight with 1,500 gold in pocket, but at the end of the day, they win the fight regardless. He crashes the wave, so the wave then bounced back to them. Keine gets to pick that up, so everything goes in their favor off of that run of play, and DSG just not really positioning correctly. No one there to block the Deadly Flourish, no one there to block the curtain call. Darkwing's not really a part of the fight whatsoever, and Castle kind of off on his own.
Good luck for Dignitas, especially with Photon playing a tank this time around. Locking up Huhi to allow Tomo to get that damage in, get that kill. Means that Dignitas now, with a bit of a gold lead, can also go ahead and pick up their first dragon of the game. Now it's 1-2 in the dragon stacking count, but importantly that means DSG are behind. They got those first two very quickly, and they will not be able to go for a dragon soul anytime soon.
Yeah, that is going to push that back quite a lot. And just getting that one dragon does make a big difference.
Lyle's going to be stuck in pit right here, though. Killer Instinct is available for Rahel. Does he want to do it? Flash from Isles, and Rahel will not follow. And that means that Isles will get out there. Just use both summoner spells.
Yep, you do get that flash off of him, so that's pretty nicely done. Azir is going to have a lot of time, though, to scale, and so is Sion, because, you know, now at the very least, it's like you're looking until that 5th dragon to be able to actually try to get a soul for DSG, which does mean there's so much time for these champions over on the Dig side to scale up. Ziggs, of course, does scale really, really well, and it's not like they're not going to have any chance, but I do really worry about how these fights are going to go. If Ziggs can't get, like, a ton of poke, I just feel like it's going to be pretty difficult for them.
Exactly. If that Azir is able to get to that 2.5, 3 item point by that fight, as eXyu might just get caught out right here. Isles locking him into place. He flashes away. Curtain call. And the knock-up means a kill to Sheiden. Dignitas, 3 on the board.
Yeah, eXyu doesn't flash early, and then at the time he flashes, he just kind of wastes it and goes down anyway. It's like, even if you got the Vault Breaker to get out of that Jhin ulti, you're still going to die. Like, they're still all on top of you, and you're so incredibly low. So eXyu gets caught out, but then makes it worse by actually spending more to try to escape. But they are going to try to make a play on the other side of the map. They have Ziggs to knock this down very, very quickly. Huhi is here to cover, so Photon can't really do anything about it.
He didn't time it. No, no, it's fine. The Otters will get it.
Yeah, but they're going to lose first tower. I mean, it doesn't matter because they already lost feats. Okay, they didn't end up losing first tower.
And
anyway,
they also got the tower bot side because that Darkwings gets the turret, teleports away while he's getting pincered. Actually, pretty efficient movement from Darkwings.
Yep, not too bad. And feats, you know, do go the way of Diggs. So they're going to be happy about that. This mid lane tower will fall pretty shortly, but still, Darkwings farming well. And I think there's going to be quite a bit of pressure on him to be able to make things happen in this game.
That mid turret just barely holding on here for DSG with a sliver of a health bar. Dignitas can very quickly answer that turret in kind. Equalize it at 2-2, but won't have a lot more to fight for in the next couple minutes unless they want to go for an early Otacon. But again, that just favors the Azir and the Sion. These scaling picks, while there isn't zero scaling on DSG's side, I still just get so terrified when I see the Azir items start to come online, when I see the Sion get to this unkillable point, as Dignitas are already winning in the early scraps anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the other option that DSG do have is just say, okay, who cares? We have too much AP. We'll just go poke Kaisa anyway, and then we'll just play around poke from Ziggs and Kaisa and hope that you can poke past that front line. But of course, the difficulty is if you can't actually get that damage past the Sion, then you're not going to do anything to the Sion, right? Because Sion is just going to stack a million MR and become an absolute brick wall. And every time he shows up at this point, he is going to be really difficult to actually knock down. Otacon is going to be spawning here on that bot side. Mid lane tier 1 already was gone. But Dig just trying to threaten the push here to then allow themselves to move in and reclaim some vision in the river.
And DSG, to their credit, yes, they have yet to pick up a kill. They're not completely out of this game yet. It's 1.5 thousand, and they're doing a good job of controlling vision ahead of objective spawning. We've seen it at the Dragon so far, now here at the Otacon as well. They have some deep wards, but Dignitas are just getting more gold on the map regardless. Another turret will fall topside. Keine picks up that one. That's all outer turrets now claimed in favor of Dig.
Yeah, and Keine is sitting on the Seekers now. So usually what you see, when people are going against these really heavy dive comps is they'll just go for a Seekers and then go for the rest of the piece of another item. Instead, he's just going to go for the full Zhonya's. So does complete that, and we'll have that up and available for this next fight. So if you Vial in on him, he's just going to press the Zhonya's. He's going to immune that, which makes Tomo kind of the more appetizing target. But the problem is if you full send everything on the Jhin, sometimes the Azir is just going to cook you. So it does make things a lot more difficult for DSG already. I mean, we're 21 minutes into the game. They haven't really sent it on a single fight yet. And I am definitely getting pretty worried for them that, by the time they do actually fight, it's going to be really, really tough. Trying to hard engage through Poppy, through the Azir ult, through this Sion that is already on 2 items completed.
Whether it was that first Dragon scrap on the bottom side or that Herald scrap on the top side, we haven't gotten that full 5v5 front to back. It's always, everyone collapse onto one member right here and just full send on the person out of position, as the approach to the objectives from each team have left at least one member kind of separated from everybody else. I'd love to get a proper front to back, though, because we can really start to see what the poke does. If Darkwings can play patient enough, Ziggs is one of those champions. You can really do some crazy things in a fight if you're just able to, curve those bombs around the front line.
Yeah, it is going to be difficult, though. Castle, again, is somewhat split, and they're looking for the fight.
Canceled by Huhi. He just goes in on his own right now. DSG are not able to follow up, so Huhi is just out of the fight at the start. Castle again collapsed on by the rest of Dig. And that is the story of DSG so far in this game. They just cannot find the full 5-man engage.
I mean, that's just brutal, right? Like, you finally look like, okay, you're going to set up, you're going to take this fight here. They lose without anything even happening, basically. And now they're going to probably lose the Otacon off the back of this as well. They're trying to whittle down Photon, but it's taking forever.
Darkwings is getting some damage in onto Isles, onto Photon here, but Otacon's already half health. eXyu's gonna look for a steal, but the flash from Keine locking eXyu into the pit. Season assist. Rahel's trying to help him out, but now Sheiden says, all right, I'll deal with the Kaisa, y'all deal with that, but he's losing the Kaisa fight. Shut down for Rahel. eXyu gets down. Keine will chase down Rahel. Otacon's still there. Can eXyu find it? He gets into it. He takes it! eXyu with the Otacon steal. Castle teleports in. Triple kill to Darkwings on his first competitive Ziggs.
Oh man, cue up the Benny Hill music. This one's getting a bit wild. As it felt like Dig was going to get a free Otacon off the start of that Dragon fight. But then they just kind of full turn and try to pick people off. Meanwhile, they're tanking the Otacon the whole time. They're all getting incredibly low. I mean, Photon is zoning here with Isles. The point of that is so that you can actually just finish off the Dragon. Instead, they decide to, okay, now we're going to turn, but there's still people actually tanking the Otacon. In comes Rahel. You have Keine fighting in on eXyu on the side. Then Sheiden tries to go and actually take down Rahel. eXyu gets over the wall by himself. He is alive.
Huhi's back on the map.
Huhi's back. Darkwings is still here. And Tomo has just been tanking the Otacon with the team the whole time. And the Otacon gets down to 1,200, and eXyu just takes it because now there's not even a jungler. Tomo, I guess, his thought process was like, I'll hold my 4th shot and maybe I'll use that to secure it. Yeah. But this went from looking like the game ender for Dig, that they were going to be able to take the Dragon, take the Otacon, get everything, to everything went wrong for Dig.
I'm telling you, APA was watching Darkwings hit 3 people with every ability. Like, why can't my enemies do that? Oh, beautiful stuff.
I mean, Darkwings is now randomly super fed. Like, he's got a death cap.
7 stacks, Dark Seal 2. And now the gold was close. I believe it was around 2,000 in the lead for Dignitas last I saw. Now it's
just
close to 1,000.
Just how they drew up the plan.
DSG was baiting them into a sense of false security.
Oh, yeah.
By
They were
just
feeling
repeatedly approaching team fights, not grouped as 5, just for that moment. Yep.
I mean, that is crazy. And now DSG, they did at least lose the Dragon, so they are not on Soul Point. But getting the Otacon is going to feel quite nice. And it took it from feeling like, okay, Digger fully in the driver's seat to now we're back to a pretty darn even game. They do, of course, have the adaptive stats that are going to give them that extra advantage from the Otacon. But the scaling edge still does feel like it's probably on the Dig side unless Darkwings can land a lot of poke. It is just difficult for both Ziggs and the Kaisa to land a lot of poke past the Poppy and past the Sion. So I think that is the difficulty, is like, can you actually hit the targets that matter?
And once again, look at the approach. It's all 5 members of Dig clumped up as one. DSG a little spread. We have Rahel running towards the Wolf camp to get some more gold in his pocket, while Castle was in the mid lane, but looks like nobody's actually going to hard commit for the Baron.
Yeah, I mean, I just think starting a 25-minute Baron in front of a Ziggs would be asking to lose the game. I mean, it's Ziggs Rumble, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's just no way you should start it up, but at least they wanted to try to get control, get some vision in that area. They are now going to send Keine down towards bot, Photon go top. They both have their TP up and available, so Tomo will just chill mid, and we'll go back into farming for a bit here. I think realistically, unless there's a big pick, you're looking at the Cloud Dragon for the next real fight. And we have to see, if they can get the proper setup, because, Dig won the Dragon fight super, super easily. But then again, it's kind of what I was talking about earlier, where everyone had a different idea of like how they were going to actually finish that, right? Photon's like, I'll zone and you guys will just finish. And Kaine's like, I'll kill the jungler and you guys will just finish. And Sheiden's like, I'll get the ADC, and it's like, and then all of a sudden it's just Tomo tanking the Otacon and everything is kind of falling apart.
It's like class 1 of an improv group.
Yeah.
We're still working on the yes and for everybody getting on the same page.
There was a lot of improv though, for sure.
There was a lot of improv going on there. I've also never been to an improv class, if you could tell.
Neither have I.
It's on my bucket list. You haven't? You want to go to an improv class sometime?
Not particularly.
No?
No.
It's not your thing?
No, I don't think it is.
I feel like, see, my image of
enough
improv.
in my job,
good point. See, my vision of improv is like, whose line is it
improv.
anyway? But I'm worried that it's not going to actually be that one.
I don't think it's going to be
I don't think it's
whose
actually
line
going to be
is
like
anyway.
that, yeah. Although I could be a good call-in for the group,
Yeah.
Yeah, just
I could see
aesthetically.
Yeah.
DSG currently controlling the access point towards that top river here, as it's still early for a Baron take, but you want to make sure that you're controlling that just in case the enemy team's ever out of position, and they're just ready to go right now. Teleport in from Dignitas. Huhi, again, looked like maybe he was going for the engage, but now he's getting engaged on himself, has to flash away. And again, we're just kind of dangling by the Baron right now. There's the Rumble. Ult goes down, gets a little damage in. Dignitas are currently holding the line to their jungle access, and DSG will not walk forward. So we're just throwing out abilities. We're just testing cooldowns right now.
I mean, Isles flashed in and ulted eXyu out, but that didn't really accomplish too much.
No.
And then Huhi looked for an engage, and he has to flash out. So now
Maybe
Isles
this
could
is
be
the
in trouble.
engage. Maybe Isles. Ooh, big Mega Inferno Bomb from Darkwings. Lands a sweet spot onto Isles. So he actually does have to leave the fight now. With one member no longer there, maybe DSG look for something more.
I mean, they could try. They could try to turn it onto this Baron, but it is still going to be very risky to start it in their face. Yes, Isles is not here, but the rest are. Sheiden is a little bit low, so if they can poke him a bit more, we'll see.
Has the Crescent Guard available, though. Curtain Call used. Huhi's trying to get onto Keine right now. He takes a big chunk of damage from Darkwings, who dodges the last one. Sheiden gets in the pit, but it is secured by eXyu. Now, Sheiden punished for the attempt. Crescent Guard keeps him alive, though, but Rahel gets on the back line, takes down the jungler, flashes onto Keine. Double kill to Rahel. Looking at Tomo. Darkwings on a rampage for the kill credit. Give him a double as well. DSG commit to the Baron, and they are rewarded.
Yeah, DSG are able to take it down. There was a bit of a flip as Sheiden did get in the pit, but eXyu secures the fight. Gets that smite onto the Baron here. We can watch one more time how close it did get. Sheiden was down to half HP. Isles was back in base. So they say, you know what? We're just going to do it. And Huhi looks for this engage on the side, goes in on Keine, but the rest of the team this time decided we are going to stick on the Baron. Darkwings has to satchel out of the back of the pit because he was getting focused down by Tomo, and that got quite close. Sheiden got in, but couldn't quite secure it, unfortunately for him. And then the re-engage does end up being really good for DSG. Got a bit dicey, but when Keine falls, Tomo's being focused down. There's not a lot of damage
Good
left.
shit, guys.
Nice. Let's go,
Good
guys.
shit.
I can get dragged too.
Yeah,
you
you get dragged. Oh, we don't need to hear what Sheiden was thinking after that moment. He was close. He got into that pit. It did come down to a 50-50, but, I mean, DSG are roaring back to life in this game, and Rahel, I mean, we talked about him coming into it, but now let's actually talk about the fight, because eXyu and Huhi are frontlining right now, looking for the engage onto Sheiden. Crescent Guard used to keep him safe on the retreat, and he gets out of there. But you can see based on the stats, Rahel, even on this Kaisa game, is firepower that DSG need to pick up wins.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Rahel actually played quite well last week, even though it wasn't a series loss. I was impressed with how he was playing individually. And again here, he has a pretty big advantage, and Darkwings quietly has opened up a really big lead now. He is working in towards his Zonias, has the Seekers, and Photon.
Okay, so remember when we were talking about Photon's health bar? Well, what happens when he has all this magic resist and not a lot of armor anymore? He actually does have to flash away from Rahel right there, who is really stinging him right now.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, if he is there by himself, like if there's 3-4 people hitting him, you're going to be scared no matter what, right? The difficulty for Rahel becomes when you're trying to hit the Sion and then all of a sudden you get poked by one Azir soldier and you lose all your health. So that
what
is...
if the Azir's not there?
If the Azir's not there, then it's looking good for them. And we can see that Rahel is grabbing a Seekers himself. So all three of the people that you might want to focus on DSG now have a Seekers. There's one on Rumble, there's one on Ziggs, there's one on Kaisa. So it's going to be pretty difficult to get any sort of a burst kill whatsoever. But yeah, I mean, there is obviously a lot of MR on the Sion. Does have a decent amount of armor, though, too.
And maybe a pick right here. Ooh! Sheiden just caught where he was not meant to be. DSG stomp him like a leaf on a sidewalk. Jungler down for Dig.
Something like a leaf on a
Hey,
sidewalk.
see this crunchy leaf? You gotta like step on it when you're walking by. You don't give it like an extra stomp?
That's some like some
satisfying
psychopathic
crunch.
behavior right there, you know?
No. Twitch chat's on my side on this one as well. Check
Next
Twitch
you're gonna
chat.
be telling me like you're burning ants with magnifying glasses
Well, no,
and stuff.
that's a little rude. But
Yeah,
a leaf,
exactly.
it's just a leaf. There's no offensive fly quest. You're not in this series.
Just a leaf.
It's just a leaf. Huhi right now. Taking a lot of damage. He's got the ultimate. Will he survive? Ooh, Keeper's Verdict goes wide, but I don't even think he was trying to hit Huhi.
Yeah.
We're looking for the kill, but he gets out.
Yeah, I started channeling that up and then realized, wait, we want to kill him. I don't
Yeah,
want
if
to
you
knock him
tap
away.
it, maybe, but yeah.
Yeah, I think he either needed to just use the instant tap or just let it expire and get some of the cooldown back. Because when you actually let it go, then you're losing the cooldown as well. So
Worst
either
of
way,
both worlds.
it is unfortunately yes. DSG in a great spot, up 8K. They are on Soul Point here, and Darkwings.
What a debut for a Ziggs. First time Ziggs on stage.
Yeah, making APA proud out there, pushing in the side waves as well before he goes back to base. He's already level 18. We already touched on the death cap. Now he has his Void Staff. He upgrades that Dark Seal to the Mage Eyes. So he is full build for now and is really, really strong. If he can hit pretty much any of his like major spells, like 1 Q in the center of your ult is going to be enough to push someone out of the fight. I mean, he's on Gathering Storm as well, so he's really full scaling runes here, over 700 AP at this point, and is going to be really difficult to deal with. You can see Rahel now finishes Zonia's. The Zonia's not yet done for Castle, but yeah, DSG looking difficult to take down for sure.
I mean, at this point, DSG with an 8,000 gold lead, they have no business losing this Dragon Soul fight. Yes, they had a couple of rough approaches earlier on, but this is the type of insurmountable lead where you have such big item advantages, specifically on Rahel. 4 items completed. Darkwings there too, and the carries for DSG, as long as they just press their buttons, hit the front line or the back line, whoever's in front of them, Dig will start to melt here, as they're going to have to try and find a miracle approach. They don't have the best engaged tools. I mean, really, maybe Keine going in for like a deep dive shuffle could be what they need, but it's
not
hard.
against all these Zonias. I don't think you can actually full send it like that. I think you do
That's
have
tough.
to kind of take space. I think you have to play through mid, push up, and then have Photon walk in, and he's kind of just that brick wall.
Sure.
And you kind of try to organize a front-to-back fight. You hope that Dig send it on a bad engage, that eXyu goes too far, or Huhi goes too far, and you can just focus down these members and play the fight like that. I think your game plan can't really change because you just don't have explosive engage, but Ziggs is landing a poke.
Poke onto eXyu, that's a lot of damage right there. Now Huhi goes for the engage. Big chunk out of Isles, who's going to start burning down. Darkwings with the damage from downtown, as now cease and desist onto Keine. He has his own stasis. Flash and shuffle available. Stunned up, goes away, but Rahel follows with a killer instinct. And that is 2 picked up. DSG want more. Rahel flashing the wall, picking up another one. 3 down, 2 to defend for Dignitas, but disguised look to march in. They have a wave mid. How bad do they want to end the game right here, right now?
I think they're going to do it. I mean, there's not a lot of wave clear. There's 40 seconds on Sheiden and Keine. They should be able to knock this down no problem with the Ziggs and the Kaisa. Looking like game one is theirs.
It's just the big tank and the Jhin. Yes, Jhin has 3 items, but the wave clear might just not be there. Let's see how Dig want to do this. Photon currently up. They have Isles now, flashes with the Keeper's Verdict, but both turrets are down. Now DSG just need to take the fight. They're melting through the health bars. Rahel is unleashed, and DSG will make quick work of Dignitas in game number 1.
Great start here from DSG. Yes, it was, back and forth, but they're able to take game number 1, and in only 34 minutes, Lounge, is it a sweep for DSG in their first series win?
1 game away, baby.
Yeah.
For DSG, if they win this series, they will actually be able to get 5th seed and pick their opponent.
Kind of crazy.